guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little bit different. It's not really a review video. We're going to look at a knife of some pretty military historical significance. We're going to look at the Gerber Mark II dagger. So let's turn this around and take a look at this iconic piece of American military history from above. All right, guys, we're going to take a look at this because this is one of the most iconic military knives that's out there. There's a handful of them. You got the K-bar, you got the Mac V SOG, and you've got the Gerber Mark II. Those are the ones that really stick in my mind when I think of Vietnam era Special Forces knives. This is a reissuance. This is not the 1960s era, 1970s era Gerber Mark II. Now, they were produced in Portland. Gerber has changed hands a few times since then, and they're not the company they used to be. Their production quality has dropped off. The knives are nowhere near as good. I can't justify buying a Gerber these days, but back in the day, they made some amazing, amazing knives. So the Mac V guys that were in Vietnam had the Mac V Bowie, they had this knife, and they had several other knives that they did carry, but this was really, really popular with military guys. So this knife first released in 1966 through Gerber Legendary Blades. It's become one of the most recognizable military knives during the Vietnam era. This was designed by Bud Holzman, I'm sorry. And it was inspired by Roman Gladius and the British Fairbairn Sykes World War II fighting knife. The original included a double-edged blade with a prominent wasp waist shape. So I'm going to show you some pictures of the actual original one. My buddy Tino let me borrow this, and he's building a shadow box for his father, who was a Green Beret. So he's sending me pictures of the actual Mark II. So the handle's different, blade profile's different. But what was really unique about it was the actual knife. And like I said, I'm going to put a picture of it up at an angle. It had a 5-degree offset in the blade. So that meant that when you had the knife in hand, there was actually a 5-degree angle here. So the blade was 5 degrees offset so that you could align that with your wrist and not have to point your wrist down for a stabbing motion. You could just keep it up like this, and it was more aligned with the stab. Had these beautiful handles on this. The originals did not have this serration pattern in there. That was added later, which gives you that look of the wasp waist like you saw in the picture earlier. It had a 7-inch overall blade, and like I said, had the offset handle to align with the user's wrist for a better stabbing motion. So this knife became popular with soldiers in the Vietnam era due to the fact that it was effective in close quarters combat. And I did write a script for this, and I'm reading from it. It did cause some controversy. It was temporarily withdrawn from production when the U.S. military deemed it too lethal looking, which that's silly. I mean, if you got it, that is one of the things that you're going to see. All that looks aggressive, so we can't let you have it. Well, then you're detracting. You're not allowing troops to have the tools they need, which has just been something stupid. But they wouldn't issue it to troops because it was too lethal looking. But despite this, troops bought this knife on their own. So over the years, the design has underwent several modifications. Example, the serrated spine. Earlier versions had a serrated spine, which was removed. In the 70s, Mark II gained fame in military circles as a popular survival and outdoor knife. I really don't think that's true, but I found a bunch of articles that cited that. The handle material also was changed. So this is all aluminum with a coating on it. But what they did for the originals, and I'll show you a picture of it and try and put it up here side by side, they would take this aluminum handle, and then they would mask everything off, and then here they would spray it with molten steel, and it gave it a really aggressive feel. It was non-slippery, it was waterproof and all that, but it also was better than this. It was not slick. It was like a file, and they called it a cat's tongue grip, which it absolutely was. Now they have synthetic models and things like that. So the Mark II's appearance has garnered it a lot of fans, but it also has made it an iconic knife that you can see in movies and TV shows, and it's recognizable world round. everywhere around. So that's kind of the history of it. It's become a collectible. The knife's been reintroduced several times, which is what this is. This is what we have here. It's been reintroduced several times since its original production run. Gerber's, they've done commemorative versions of it, but they've done a lot, and they really, I do have to say, as much as I get upset with Gerber, they've maintained the overall original design, even through these updates. The steel has changed and things like that. And despite its controversy, it remains one of the most iconic knives for combat knives of the 20th century. So let's go ahead, now that we've got all that out, I thought we would do that. Let's take a look at it. So you can see that Fairbairn-Sykes influence in the handle and the length of the blade. The Fairbairn-Sykes was a little bit more wide at the base and tapered down nice and thin. This was a much more long, narrow, piercing item. This wasn't something you're going to do a lot of cutting with. It got this really nice cross guard where you can get up on it. You can get it in a fencing grip. Removing, I do understand the 5-degree cant, but removing the 5-degree cant that you saw in the picture, and I'll put it up here again so you can see, while it did facilitate that stabbing, if you get it like this, then it's backwards. So I think, as cool as it was to have that 5-degree offset, I think that making it just a straight blade meant that you didn't have to try an index, and you didn't have to worry about, now, when you put it in the sheath, obviously when you would put it in the sheath and then that 5-degree cant, it would allow it to hug your body a little bit better and it would stay on the inside. You basically would come out of the sheath like that. But the fact is that for today's folks, that's not going to be something they're looking for. And a lot of people just buy these because they are collectible and they are cool. Now, like I said, there's been multiple reissuances of these. They've been historically produced pretty much readily available since 1966. They're not as available now as they used to be. And like I said, there's different versions of it. And this happens with other knives. Like we've talked about the Mac V SOG Bowie, which you can see the newest version of it here. This is the SOG Bowie 2. This is another knife from that time frame. This was actually the same style knife that my friend's dad was issued. He had the SOG Bowie as well, Special Operations Group. So these are really, really cool, and they're from the same time frame. But just like this knife has been reissued multiple times. But they've stayed really true to the original design, which I love it. It's iconic. This is not going to be something that you're carrying to go out in the woods and go camping and things like that. It's really not that functional for a lot of stuff. But if you are a serviceman or woman that's serving in a combat theater, which regardless of what they say in the debate, there are, this would be something that you could use. I know that these still are popular with special forces operators and things like that. They are really, really great, and it's just an iconic thing. Now, I don't understand the purpose of the serrations. Some people told me, now I cannot verify it, but people told me that they added the serrations so it would be more popular with the outdoorsman style, and then they got rid of the cat tongue grip on the handles because they would rust when they would get wet, and then you would have, rust that you would have to maintain because it was not coated. It was just steel, that molten steel had been sprayed on. I think that may have that's something that I found. It may have been a cost-saving measure. They stopped doing it. But out of all the knives that Gerber makes and still makes, I think this is the one that they still get right. I'm not a big fan of Gerber. Their quality's dropped off. They're not the company they used to be from the time I was in the military. But there are some exceptions to that rule, and this is one of them. I absolutely love this. It's iconic. I've had pictures of this since I was a kid, and I've never owned one. I probably won't. I don't need this. I have daggers that are more along the lines of things I want, but it is nice to get to see this. So I just thought I would take you guys along, let you guys see a little piece of military history. So let's turn this around, let's do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. So there you go, guys. Yeah, just an awesome piece of history. I can see why special operators and special forces and military members in combat theater in Vietnam gravitated towards this, because it was something that was very, very versatile for them But like I said, it's in the body of the video. This is not something you're going to carry as like an outdoors knife. It has one distinct purpose and one distinct purpose alone. So with that being said, guys, not to reiterate what we already said and rehash stuff, you guys know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got it set to all. If you're going to buy anything knife related, please use my affiliate links down below. There's plenty of them down there. It doesn't cost you anything extra at checkout. It does support the channel. I have an Amazon store. You can do all your Amazon shopping. It works the same, but I also have 2 links down there that will save you 10% at checkout if you're looking for those items. Coffee Brand Coffee Tempered Trail, the best coffee I've had hands down in a long time. Coffee Brand Coffee, money back guarantee, roasted on demand, 10% off when you use that link. And if you want some really amazing, strong shoelaces for hiking boots, things like that, hand-stitched leather wallets or bags, check out Tempered Trail. I also have a coupon code of Crazy Sharp works at Fair & Forge Knife Works. Fair & Forge Knife Works, Rosecraft Blades, and KATSU Knives. It's all one word. Crazy Sharp saves you 10% at checkout. Guys, there's other ways you can support the channel, like joining my membership and things like that, but we'll leave that be because this is kind of a long video. That's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. I'll see you in the next video.